It's 4 p.m. You're watching One News, and we're bringing you the developing news.
And the stories behind the headlines. This is Storycon. So let's go straight to our headlines this Thursday, Feb 29. The Philippine Coast Guard has confirmed that hackers used malware to breach its Facebook page's security on Feb 26. The hackers were identified as Fatima Hassan, Murat Kansu, and Vicky Bates based on their Facebook names. The PCG just regained full access to its page this morning.
There will be rotating water interruptions in Metro Manila in April and May because of the El Nino. The National Water Resources Board is set to bring down the allocation by at least 46 cubic meters. As of yesterday, the water elevation of Angat Dam was at 206.11 meters, over 8 meters below its normal high elevation of 212 meters. That's a lot of numbers there, right? Safe to say it's below the ideal
needed,
level.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the Metro Manila Council has approved a resolution banning electric tricycles and bikes in major thoroughfares. This means all e-trikes and e-bikes will be prohibited on EDSA, Marcos Highway, Elliptical Road, Commonwealth Avenue, and other main roads in Metro Manila. Shall we go straight to that?
Yes.
Okay, so another big story for today. Nakita nyo naman, pinag-uusapan to sa social media. Former NTF-ELCAC spokesperson Lorraine Badoy thanks the Supreme Court for, quote, making her walk free with a minimal fine after she was found guilty of indirect contempt. In a statement, Badoy apologized to the High Court for her, quote, intemperate language about Judge Marlo Magdoza Malagar of the Manila RTC Branch 19. However, she said she will not apologize for the, quote, outrage that she felt the time she wrote the posts. The Supreme Court had imposed a 30,000 peso fine on Badoy. So yung sinasabi niya maliit lang.
Yes.
No? After
Kaya.
she was found guilty of indirect contempt due to her multiple insults and a death threat on Malagar. The High Court cited a series of Badoy's Facebook posts in 2022 in its ruling. That year, Magdoza Malagar denied the petition of the Justice Department to designate the Communist Party of the Philippines and the New People's Army as, or brand them as, terrorists. So, noong 2022 itong case na ito.
Yeah, it took, 2 years? Almost 2 years for the Supreme Court to decide on this indirect contempt. Okay, the difference between direct contempt and indirect contempt, I think direct contempt is done. Contempt done in the presence of the court. In this case, it was a Facebook post of Miss Lorraine Badoy that was cited for contempt. And because it's in a Facebook post, it's indirect.
It's indirect
So
because of the platform used. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
not in the presence of the court or of the judge. Okay.
okay. So,
We're expecting an interview right now with Miss Lorraine.
we're waiting for
Badoy.
for her availability
Yeah.
because she's in a meeting right now.
Right.
We understand, Patrick. So, as soon as matapos po yung meeting na yun, we'll try to get her on the line. Actually, ang request niya Zoom. So we'll get to see her
So,
kapag sakali man.
So she has thanked the Supreme Court for what she finds as a lenient penalty. A lenient fine.
Kayang-kaya, sabi.
So apart from a 30,000 peso fine, there's just a reminder not to do that remark again. Not to repeat such a remark.
Or that stint, that kind of stunt again in the future.
So I'll just read, Jove, a part
Okay.
of the Supreme Court's decision. This is open quote for her vitriolic statements and outright threats against Judge Magdoza Malagar and the judiciary. Respondent Lorraine Badoy is found guilty of indirect contempt and is fined 30,000 pesos with a warning that repeating the same or similar acts will lead to a more severe penalty. Yan. So she's thankful for the court for the lenient penalty, but at the same time, she says she won't apologize for the outrage that she felt back then.
Some agencies are noting, Patrick, that the court also cited concerns that Badoy's post incited violence daw.
Okay.
And they also highlighted yung comments from her followers. Siyempre, may ganun may following talaga si Lorraine, yun yung isa sa mga naging concern ng korte, na yung influence niya doon sa mga tao.
So the decision of the judge not to overruling the position of NTF-ELCAC to brand the CPP and NPA as terrorist organizations elicited this kind of Facebook post from Ms. Lorraine Badoy, was then NTF-ELCAC spokesperson. And let's look at her quote again. So this is the quote: "If I kill this judge and I do if I kill this judge and I do so out of my political belief, then please be lenient with me." Okay, so that was the quote. So in fairness, I don't think she meant in a literal way. She was trying to draw parallelisms or doing a metaphor here. But nonetheless, it did not sit well with the Supreme Court. That's why she is being slapped with a 30,000 peso fine.
At ang tingin niya ay medyo light at lenient yung naging decision. Pero nung 2020, kailan to? 2021 o 2022 nung nangyari yan. Meron talagang concern ang High Tribunal nung time na yun, kaya instant yung kanilang pag-scold or pag-re-remind kay Lorraine, because yung warning na yon ay dahil sa takot nila or sa fear that yung continuous incite to violence through social media might endanger the lives of judges and their families.
Right. Okay. So, and just to go back to this quote of Ms. Lorraine Badoy, I think this was in the context, this was a metaphor that she employed in the context of the decision of the judge then, of the RTC judge, that the CPP, while it is engaged in armed struggle, cannot be considered a terrorist because it is doing armed struggle in the pursuit of its political beliefs. So parang what Ms. Lorraine Badoy did was to turn the tables around and say na if she did the same thing and out of her own political belief, then she's asking for leniency.
Yes.
Because that's how she saw the decision of the judge. Quite lenient.
So again, we hope to speak or see as one of our guests today or the next, today, not tomorrow, Lorraine Badoy, nasa meeting lang po siya, and pagka okay na ay ipapasok namin siya. So before that, while we're waiting for her or our next item, pero pa tayo pinag-uusapan before tayo mag-news, before magsimula yung program natin Naiya. Marami, pero unahin na kaya natin yung naiya. Sabi kasi nung producer natin kanina, isingit natin yung surot. Yung surot dahil it's viral because of the actual photos of people who were napeste nitong infestation na to sa ating airport. Ang sinasabi ng MIA ay tinanggal na nila doon sa lugar yung mga seats na tingin nila ay merong infestation. Ang joke, pero mukhang joke na totoo, hindi lalong nawala na ng upuan.
Yun naman ang magiging problema.
Oo, kasi kailangan tanggalin. Well, parang ang concern kasi doon, for you to manage that kind of infestation, kahit sa bahay natin o sa bahay ng ilang mga viewers natin, tinatapon, di ba? Tinatapon na. Halimbawa kung kutsyon ng kama, they throw it away. They will have to replace it. Dahil ang problem doon, mahirap tanggalin. Although there are ways of doing it, kung professionals yung gagawa to stop the infestation.
Yeah, this bed bug infestation, we might just want to remind the people who are watching and listening. This is it happened in Paris in October last year.
Yes.
Okay, there was a major infestation in Paris during Fashion Week pa naman, Jove.
Yes, so, concern nga nila.
Yeah, so they had to throw away the mattresses. There's really no way to just use some form of disinfectant or insecticide to to get rid of the bed bug infestation. Anyway, we're showing you here the statement of the Manila International Airport Authority. So they apologize to the victims and assures them that a speedy resolution to this can be expected. Following an investigation, it was confirmed that our terminals received these complaints and that 2 of those who were bitten sought and were given medical assistance by our MIAA medical team.
Yes.
So, two complainants.
Yeah.
We have some images from our One News social media. Maybe we can show them in a while later para people know what we're talking about here. There, yan po.
Ano yan, tapos pinost din sa mga medyo sikat na mga travel groups sa social media, kaya talaga nagkaroon ng traction. At parang public service kaya nila pinost na parang ingat kayo doon sa uupuan nyo pagka kayo ay nagpunta sa airport.
So this is the latest drama in a long epic saga of NAIA.
Images na madadama mo, Patrick.
Right.
Images sa pag nakita mo parang gusto mo mag-scratch ng parts ng screen.
But Jove, this is particularly important and significant.
Yeah.
And also alarming, given NAIA is the gateway to our country, right? It's like the face we wear when foreigners and visitors
It's our smile.
Arrive to the Philippines.
Yeah, it's our smile, supposedly.
That's how important the airport is.
Yeah.
And that's how sad it is whenever NAIA makes it to one of those worst lists.
Kakalabas nga lang itong week na to. No? So, according to the MIA, idagdag na lang natin, Patrick, na the seats identified in the reports have been pulled out permanently while disinfection schedules shall continue to be undertaken. So, tuloy-tuloy yung kailang pagdi-disinfect kahit wala na doon yung mga seats na natukoy nito mga
Hopefully, the problem has been contained.
Hopefully. Kasi
Knowing how difficult it is to contain infestations of insects. No? But hopefully, it has been nipped in the bud. We will, but we will know because the airport will be very busy these coming days with a lot of Filipinos flying out, not so much travelers flying in. But flying out to Singapore.
To Singapore because of the series of concerts
of Taylor Swift.
Of Taylor Swift na issue rin sa isipin mo, aside from Chacha, pinag-uusapan din ng lower house at ng mga lawmakers from the lower chamber at saka sa upper chamber yung tukol dun sa
and no less than Congressman Joey Salceda, who is an economic
yun daw ang point
legislator.
Niya. Yun daw ang point niya. It's not really about being a Swiftie daw. It's about yung missed opportunity for income.
Yeah. So if you really talk about economic recovery, turning around the Philippine economy, maybe while they're debating on charter amendments and economic revisions in the Constitution,
opening up,
mukhang ito ang mas malaking impact. The concert economy, diba? Singapore will be receiving a windfall from this series of 6 days of Taylor Swift's performing in Singapore. I mean, it's quite a smart move by Singapore. Their government has subsidized, has given grants to the organizers of the concert to ensure that everybody in Southeast Asia who wants to see this concert will have nowhere else to go but Singapore.
I think ginamit na example si Taylor Swift kasi big ticket no?
Right.
Alam natin yung income na pwedeng dalhin dito. No? Pero
hotel bookings, food sales, airline fare, and all that.
But before Taylor Swift, alam natin na ito rin naman yung puntahan naman ng mga Korean artists, right? At saka ng mga Thai artists. At sinasabi kasi nga parang mahal din pero parang siguro hindi ganun kalaki yung income.
Ang difference medyo money drain yun dahil palabas ang pera doon.
Ito,
diba?
Papasok
ang pera. Ang pera dito in this Taylor Swift concert in Singapore. 6 days. It started with a few days, I think, sa dami ng mga people from Southeast Asia who wanted. I think, and I imagine a lot of that will be Filipinos flying there, no? Kasi we're I think we have a large Swiftie fan base here. So, yeah.
Yeah, so sabi ng isang senador bilang sagot dun sa mga concern ni Congressman Joey Salceda, sabi ni Senator Sonny Angara ay of course parang in many ways, I mean hindi ko siya mako-quote directly pero sinasabi lang niya na parang marami pang ibang bagay din na kailangan tayong gawin for us to secure that kind of
First of
clout.
all, it's really it's mobility. Getting from hotel to the concert venue. You know, we're still reeling from that comment by Coldplay from Chris Martin about Manila traffic, right? We have. I mean, the Philippine Arena is a fantastic and a great venue, but it's really getting from A to B that's a problem, and I think that's something that doesn't fall on the shoulders of the Philippine Arena, but it's more on government needs to do something about mobility and transportation in this country.
Eventually, that area will be connected, right?
That's the plan. We don't know what's the latest. Yesterday po, for those of us Metro Manila commuters who were on their way home, we all know that southbound, it took me 3 hours to get home.
We heard, and we also monitored some of our anchors who were stuck around this area last night. So I was planning on going somewhere. I didn't leave this area because of those mga reklamo ng mga anchors.
So we still don't know what caused the traffic. They're saying it's a normal random accident here and there, but sometimes you have 2 random accidents in some parts of some streets in the south or one part of Metro Manila, and it's enough to cause a gridlock. That's what we saw last night.
Okay, so before Singapore, saan ba nagpunta si Taylor Swift? Australia, right?
I think she did Australia and then Japan. I'm not really a Swiftie, so I'm not closely following her movement.
Yeah.
But I know that she had to shuttle from her Tokyo concert to make it back to the Super Bowl.
Tapos balik na naman dito sa pababa sa mapa. Pero anyway, bad segue, pero galing siya ng Australia. Nandun ang Pangulo natin.
Oh, yun.
Anyway, President
Not for Taylor Swift,
not for Taylor Swift, but because of the speech sa Parliament. President Bongbong Marcos addressed the Australian Parliament this morning, the first Filipino leader to do so. Ang detalye po mula kay Mobile Journal, Julie Baez.
Then as now, we remain firm in defending our sovereignty, our sovereign rights, our jurisdiction. I will not allow any attempt by any foreign power to take even 1 square inch of our sovereign territory. The challenges that we face may be formidable, but equally formidable is our resolve. We will not yield.
Iyan ang binigyan diin ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos sa pagtalakay ng usapin ng South China Sea sa kanyang talumpati sa harap ng Parliament of Australia sa Canberra. Ito ang kauna-unahang pagkakataon na nagsalita ang lider ng Pilipinas dyan. Ayon kay PBBM, mahalaga ang pagtutulungan ng mga bansa, lalo ngayong may banta sa kapayapaan sa rehiyon.
The protection of the South China Sea as a vital, critical global artery is crucial to the preservation of regional peace and, I dare say, of global peace. We must uphold, preserve, and defend the unified and universal character of the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea as the constitution of the oceans.
Malaki rin daw ang papel ng Australia lalo't isa ito sa 2 bansa na may status of Visiting Forces Agreement sa Pilipinas. Kasabay nito, nagpasalamat ang Pangulo sa patuloy na pagsuporta ng Australia at ng international community sa paglaban ng karapatan ng bansa sa West Philippine Sea at pagpapatupad ng UNCLOS. Una riyan, napaulat ang pagde-deploy ng China ng warship sa bahagi ng West Philippine Sea. Iniimbestigahan din ang paggamit umano ng Chinese fishermen ng cyanide sa pangingisda sa Baho de Masinloc o Scarborough Shoal. Bukod dito, sinabi rin ng Pangulo na kaisa ang Pilipinas sa pagsusulong ng nuclear disarmament o pagtutol sa paggamit ng nuclear weapon. Kasunod niyan, nagkaroon din ng joint press statement sina Pangulong Marcos at Prime Minister Anthony Albanese na sumentro sa maritime at defense cooperation.
We'll also continue our maritime cooperative activities as regional partners committed to doing our part to sustain peace and stability in our region.
The Prime Minister and I both agreed to continue to look for ways and to explore every option possible to bring our countries closer than ever, and collectively, with optimism and a hopeful outlook, to be a force for good, unity, stability, and prosperity in our region.
Lumagda rin daw ang Pilipinas at Australia sa kasunduan sa pagpapalakas sa kooperasyon sa cyber at critical technology. Hindi rin nawala sa pag-uusap ang trade and investment, development cooperation at people-to-people linkages. Sa tala, higit 400 Pinoy ang kasalukuyang naninirahan sa Australia. Mobile Journal Julie Baiza po, hatid ang mukha ng balita.
Okay, so it's a visit that's heavy on defense and security matters.
Nagano siya, no? Tapos we're waiting for updates regarding yung PhilCom. Parang meron silang Filipino community event.
The usual.
Because the usual, because of course hindi naman lahat yung makakapunta. Pero ang sabi ng RTVM at saka ng DFA, around 400,000
ang population ng Filipino.
Ang population ng mga Pinoy na nagpunta na doon or nagtatrabaho doon sa Australia.
Well, I imagine we have substantial Filipino community
yeah.
in Australia. There's a lot. Mostly families and professionals who have moved there.
Okay, at syempre normal yung sinasabi kasi nasa Storycon kanina yung na merong members ng parliament na syempre na anti din or nagbigay ng kanilang protesta sa pag-invite kay PBBM. 4 yan, 4 Australian lawmakers at ang sinite nila ay yung
Can we have a picture? I think we have a picture from the Facebook page itself of the Australian senator who was protesting at the gallery.
Isa
Not
doon.
gallery, at her.
Pero ano pala sila, no?
Yeah.
Parang block ng 4 sila, pero yung isa yung may hawak ng placard. So, ang kanilang protest doon is about yung alleged rights abuses sa Pilipinas. So, parang general din.
Yes.
Yeah, yung kanilang pagprotesta. Okay.
So it's from Senator Janet Rice. I'm just reading off her Facebook page. And she says it's a grave mistake for the Australian government to give legitimacy to President Marcos Jr., inviting him to address the parliament today. So they were against that. I guess in I don't know, in Western parliaments, you really have a real multi-party system where the parties are ideologically based. Diba? So you have left-wing parties, right-wing parties, conservative parties, liberal parties, or whatever.
So that's from Janet Rice, right? There's another lawmaker, Senator Jordan Steele John. He opted to do his protest outside. He didn't stay inside the hall. Okay. So we'll give you more updates about the president's very short trip to.
But he's going back. I understand. He's spending the weekend back in Manila. Okay, but he's flying back. I understand next week.
It's for the New Zealand summit. It's a special summit next week naman yun. Anyway, guys, you're watching Storycon on One News. We just need to pause for a short break. Babalik po kami.
This is the Story Conference Group or the Storycon Group.
Andito na siya, PP.
Okay. Let's introduce our next. That's the former NTF-ELCAC spokesperson, Lorraine Marie Badoy. Lorraine Marie T. Badoy.
T. Badoy. Let's include letter T. Request yan ni Lorraine.
Oh, okay. For first question, Lorraine.
Yes, and good afternoon, Patrick and Jove. If you don't mind, could I read my statement first?
Sure,
Okay.
sure.
Okay, thank you very much. So my response to the Supreme Court's decision regarding my opinion about Judge Marlo Malagar's unfortunate decision about the 15th deadliest terrorist organization in the world, the CPP-NPA, NDF. I'd like first of all to thank the Supreme Court for stating very clearly that the right of every Filipino to freely express themselves remains sacrosanct and making me walk free with a minimal fee of 30,000 pesos, much to the dismay of the CPP, NPA, NDF who wanted me jailed. That I expressed outrage and profound bewilderment that such an egregious decision made by Judge Malagar, declaring the CPP, NPA, NDF as not terrorist when it happens to be the 15th deadliest terrorist organization in the world and listed as terrorist in the US, the UK, New Zealand, Canada, Singapore, Australia, the UN, the EU, and the Philippines, and is the cause of untold numbers of deaths of our children who were deceptively recruited into this terrorist organization by way of their fronts like the National Union of People's Lawyers, that is directly connected to the underground mass organization Lupon ng Manananggol ng Bayan or Lumaban that was designated terrorist by the Anti-Terrorism Council, the slaughter of thousands upon thousands of our indigenous peoples and other Filipinos, the wholesale destruction of our country for over half a century that continues to this day, the cold-blooded murder of 21-year-old football star Keith Absalon. Our Supreme Court has indeed made it clear that the right above all rights, our freedom of expression and freedom of the press remain inviolate, sacred, and unimpeachable, out of reach of the deadly claws of the communist terrorist group that would like to silence anyone that tells the truth about them, so that they may continue to sow death and destruction on our beloved country for yet another half century. I would like to apologize to the highest court in the land for the intemperate language and tenor that I took. I hear them, but I maintain that I never threatened anyone with harm. I am not a terrorist. The CPP, NPA, NDF is. I cannot, however, apologize for the outrage I felt that made me take pen to paper and pour my heart out, an outrage that I feel to this day. The day that we lose our ability to feel outrage over the theft of our children by this terrorist organization, the destruction of all that we hold dear to us, our children, our families, our institutions, like Congress, where 3 CPP, NPA, NDF operatives continue to sit as pretend legislatures, but are in fact operatives of the CPP, NPA, NDF, the destiny of our country. And when we lose that, this is the day that we have lost our collective souls as a people. The day that we have lost our will as a people to finally end the life of this terrorist organization is the day we hand over to terrorists what is truly most precious to us. The enemies of the state who meant to silence me with this case have lost once again. No one has been silenced, certainly not me. Thanks to the Supreme Court, our court remains. Can I just one more sentence?
Okay.
CPP, NPA, NDF wanted me jailed. Instead, I am walking free with a 30,000 peso fine. Just a reminder to be more circumspect and to rein it in a bit more. So I will mind my manners and be a better daughter to my father, who retired as a justice of the Sandigan, and I will even be a better daughter by being what my father has always taught me, to be a defender and protector of our country. In closing, please bear me out. In closing, I would like to dedicate this victory, as well as the outrage and grief of our nation, to Attorney Hannah Sesista, UP Law graduate who passed the bar last year but died recently fighting government troops as a terrorist NPA, and who even in death she was a member of the NUPL.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Miss Lorraine Badoy, so I gather in short, you see this as a victory. You use the word victory. So this decision, this indirect contempt, you find it as good news for you.
Oh yes, yes Patrick, no. We expected this. We expected it kasi motu proprio yan eh. So of course it is a victory. Even the NTF-ELCAC feels that way, and the mothers and the indigenous peoples, we all stand together in this kasi
a victory.
this was filed as a criminal case, no? And the Supreme Court did not agree.
Okay, a victory in the simple sense that you're not in jail, and a
Minimal
30,000
minimal
peso
fee,
fine is quite affordable, I guess. I assume. So on these two counts.
It's a very clear victory, Patrick, in our from our perspective.
But-
yes.
Okay.
But Lorraine,
Definitely.
Lorraine,
Yes.
here's a
I
concern.
don't- yes.
We were reading your statement
Uh-huh.
and we were listening right now because you
Yes.
read the whole text. The concern is the 51-page ruling penned by Associate Justice Marvic Lloret also had this warning or reminder against repeating the same or similar acts in the future.
Yes.
Dahil baka daw mas malaki na yung magiging consequence after
Yes.
that. Ano? So, hindi ka ba na-concern na after penning that statement of yours and using some sentences against dun sa judge, ano, ay baka repeat of whatever was decided upon?
Jove, narinig ko naman yung sinabi ng ating mataas na hukuman, pinakamataas na hukuman. Narinig ko sila. Ang pinakamalakas na narinig ko sa kanila at sinulat nila ito, no, na yung karapatan natin na magsalita, no, it's a freedom above all freedoms. Hindi yan nagalaw. No? We can still speak freely as I did. Do I regret writing any of it? I don't. And to this day, this is exactly how I feel. No, that decision was egregious. But I hear also what the Supreme Court is saying. The one yung sinabi mo lang, no, na to be temperate, no? Kasi nga no, pinanggagalingan ko yung tatay ko ay abogado. So naintindihan ko yung kahalagahan nung pagrespeto sa hudikatura. So naririnig ko sila pag sinasabi nila yon. Pero nga ang sinasabi ko dito kaya namamayagpag yung karapatan na mag-express freely, no, na ng malayang nagsasabi tayo nung ano yung nasa loobin natin at ating opinion kasi pinakamataas na karapatan yon, no, kalayaan yon.
Okay,
Tama ba? Nasagot ko ba yung tanong mo, Joe?
Lorraine, it's obvious
Yes.
that the outrage is still very much there, no?
Yes.
But red tagging or whatever term actually applies to it now seems to have gone out of fashion in this administration. What's your view on that? What's your sentiment on that?
I see it as another step forward, Patrick, because there really is no such thing as red tagging. No, our courts have spoken over and over again, even the Supreme Court. How do I know this? I've been at the receiving end of all these CPP fronts that have brought me, and not just me, but not just even President Duterte, but even past presidents to court for this mythical unicorn, this red tagging that really what it is speaking the truth, and they do that because ayaw nila na nabubuko sila kasi yan ang kanilang, that's their way of deceiving our people, our children into becoming NPAs, and they need that. So I feel that the Marcos administration is on the right track kasi nag-move forward na, and right now what are we facing? What is the reality, di ba? Zero active guerrilla fronts. What does that mean? No, maybe it's hard for us here in Manila to understand that. Pero ang ibig sabihin nun, Patrick, sa kanayunan, totoo na yung kapayapaan at umaandar na ang progreso. No? So, yun ang ibig sabihin nun. Umiiba na yung shape, yung landscape ng laban natin para matapos na itong salot na ito at pwede nang lumipad ang Pilipinas. Nakikita ko yan at nararamdaman ko. No?
Okay. That was Lorraine Marie T.
Before
Badoy.
that, naalala ko lang kasi alam ko na konti lang yung oras binigay ni Lorraine Badoy sa atin dahil meron siyang meeting. Tanong ko lang,
May iba tayo?
hindi, maiba tayo. Ano yung bang meeting ay, kasama ba sila Harry Roque doon sa meeting? Ano ba ang nature ng meeting
Ga-
ninyo?
ganito na lang,
Yeah.
Lorraine. Lorraine, excuse me, ganito na lang. You're no longer with NTF-ELCAC, okay? Your
Yes.
stint with government is over. You're citizen Lorraine right now. That's what we understand. But given the passion that you just displayed a few moments ago, should we expect you to be still politically active?
Me? Who,
Yeah.
me?
Yes,
Patrick, what do
yes.
you mean?
You, yes, yes, you,
Politically active?
yes.
What do you mean? If I'm going to run for public office,
No,
the
no,
answer is
no, not just run, but
In politics, yes.
this cause of
Yes,
yours,
because
this
it's-
advocacy of yours.
Yes.
How do you
Yes,
intend
yes,
to
because
pursue it as citizen Lorraine?
Yeah, Patrick, I didn't miss a beat, no, from being part of government to not being part of government. I continued this fight, no, wala nagbago because I think this is what's being asked of us, each of us, no. The burning question of the day, Patrick, Jove, everybody, no, is how serious are we in wanting to be the country that we've always dreamt to be, no, because we cannot be that if there is a terrorist organization that's at every sector of our society, undermining our people, our government, all our honest efforts in really moving our country forward. I'm in my 60s. I'll be dead soon. I'm not willing to die without giving my best to all of this, and I want this to end because I really want to. When I travel, I see how beautiful other countries are, and I want the same for my children, for my apos, for future generations of Filipinos. It's as simple as that, no?
Isn't the fight over, Lorraine? You mentioned a while ago that you yourself mentioned that kokonti na lang yung mga guerrilla front ngayon.
Yeah, actually,
So-
Patrick, thank you. That question is so beautiful, Patrick. I could kiss you for it, honestly. Of course, the armed struggle is the NPA's zero active guerrilla fronts, but there are 1,600, 1,500 NPAs at everyday na lalagas. Pero hindi lang naman NPA yan, Patrick. Ang pinakamalaking kalokohan, no, panloloko na ginawa sa atin ay nandito sila sa urban sector na sa mga eskwela natin. Tuloy-tuloy pa rin ang CPP, ang NDF sa pagre-recruit ng mga anak natin at yung mga mahihirap na mga kababayan natin, no. So just recently, last week was it, no? There was a UP student that died, Hannah J. Cesista, and all this ground, and she came from the NUPL. So what my point, she died as an NPA. No, she was recruited by way of the NUPL to become an NPA. And what else? Not in other words, the ground commanders that we speak to, they say pag local sa area of responsibility nila, wala nang recruitment halos. Pero yung mga dumadating na NPA ay mga anak natin, mga estudyante, galing UP, PUP,
Okay.
galing Ateneo de Davao, galing so
Okay.
tuloy-tuloy pa din ng panloloko
Okay.
ng CPP
Yeah.
and NDF sa mga
Lo-
sa mga anak natin. The
Lorraine, so-
recruitment continues.
So,
I'm sorry.
Lorraine, you mentioned campuses, schools, and students. Doesn't this bring us back to red tagging, which you said a while ago is wala na, there's no need for it?
Patrick, as I said, there is no such thing as red tagging, di ba? And kasi ang red tagging, parang what they're saying is, when you, I'm sorry, my Viber was somebody was calling, so I'm distracted. Sorry. So your question, Patrick, is
Parang bumabalik tayo sa red tagging whenever you mention that our schools, our students are being recruited and all that. I mean,
Namamatay ng NPA, sabi nga ni
Okay.
Lorraine. Yeah.
okay, so number one, Patrick, keep in mind always, when you use that word, you're playing into their hands because that is the weapon of the CPP, NPA, and the NDF, that noxious word, red tagging.
so,
that make-believe
what term
They-
should we
they-
use? What term
I'm sorry.
what term should we use then, Lorraine?
Unmasking, unmasking. And they need those, and because what they're saying is, you know what the Supreme Court said in Zarate v. Aquino 2015, there is no danger to life, liberty, and security when you're identified as a member of the CPP, NPA, NDF. And in fact, Patrick, what has brought great harm to our country was when we didn't take off those masks, when we didn't identify them. Even then, government already knew that Anakbayan, LFS, CEGP, IBON, NUPL, these are all fronts of the CPP. And what happened? We paid with such a high price the altar of Joma season is littered with the bodies of
Okay.
our children. So yan ang nangyari. So it's of utmost importance that we name them and we unmask them and that we speak the truth. So
Okay,
I hope I answered your question.
Lorraine,
Yes.
I understand that if we go back in history or in time, maybe to the 70s, that red tagging
Yes.
gained its notoriety because of the tendency of some people to just apply the red tag on very liberally, that even innocent people are put in danger.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
aren't you in, okay, let's use your term, and in unmasking people, isn't there a risk of putting innocent people in danger?
Again, Patrick, I'm not going to speak my opinion. No. I'm going to speak about what the Supreme Court said, our regional trial courts have said, our courts of appeal have said. They are one in this. No, it's kind of hard to wrap your mind around it at first, but this is what they say. There is no danger to life, liberty, and security when we say that Teddy Casino is a member of the CPP, NPA, NDF, or that NUPL is a front of the CPP, NPA, NDF. And what they've done is to bring us to court, to harass us, and to silence us. So, it's baliktad nga eh. Baliktad kasi yung sinasabi mo na nasobrahan, di ba? Tapos may nasaktan. Actually, yung template ng CPP, kapag ka nahuli sila, katulad ni Hannah Jane Cesista, or kung sino pa yung mga nandyan, sasabihin nila, activist yung namatay. Pero actually, NPA. So, binabaliktad nila. Kasi yan ang formula nila. Pero yung kagandahan doon, Patrick and Jove, ay tapos na yung araw na yun, napakalaking bagay that our people already are armed with the truth because you're in media, diba? So you know the power of correct information. No? So this is so important for our people.
Lorraine, just to be fair, no, you mentioned
Yeah.
the names Teddy Casino and NUPL,
Yes.
the National Union of I
Even
think
Ibon.
lawyers. Okay,
Ibon and the others.
we all
Yeah.
know that this organizations, while they may be left-leaning, okay, let's use that, okay, but they are
Yes.
not involved in the armed struggle. So by unmasking them or red tagging them, the way the left sees it, isn't there a risk that you're just that we could be radicalizing the situation and actually forcing these people to really embrace the armed struggle? So what I'm trying to say is, won't it backfire?
No, Teddy Casino will never be an NPA. You know why? He would rather recruit other people's children than our children, than his own children or himself. So to answer your question, Patrick, once again, there is no such thing as red tagging. Kasi what I'm sorry you went around. No, but you were saying that it's dangerous. That okay, I get it. I remember. So I said that Teddy Casino, I identified him, I unmasked him, right? This is not from me. This is from his former kasama, mga former rebels ng NPA who have named Teddy. So if Teddy has a problem with that, he should bring us to court and sue us for libel. Or there's an even simpler way, no? There's an even simpler way. Just to get this all out of the way, Teddy Casino should condemn the CPP, NPA, NDF. It's as simple as that. Why shouldn't you? It's a terrorist organization, right? Should be easy, but he's never done it for all these decades that we've challenged him to do it. And you know why? Because what we speak is the truth. He is a member of this terrorist organization, and he faces very serious criminal offenses, of which is member of a terrorist organization, recruitment to a terrorist organization, and the support to a terrorist organization.
Okay. Lorraine Badoy, thank you for talking to Storycon. Thank you,
Thank
Lorraine.
you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much, Patrick and Jove.
To be fair, ilang
To be
beses
fair,
din natin na-interview sila.
I know. To be fair,
Sila Teddy. Yeah.
Teddy Casino
Yeah.
is not a member of the New People's Army. He's not involved in the armed struggle. Just leave it at that, di ba?
Okay. Yeah. And I think meron ding means para sumagot yung ibang organizations like Ibon and the other groups mentioned in this interview. Okay, so
So, and to wrap it up, she is actually happy with with the
She's
Supreme Court
happy.
decision citing her in contempt. Parang she was saying that it could have been worse.
Kaya
She could have been put in
tinanong ko
jail.
kaya tinanong ko kasi nakita ko yung yung note na binigay doon sa 51 page na yon, decision na pinan ni ni Marvic Leonen na parang mag-ingat na after this. Pero kasi parang bordering yung ibang statements si Lorraine. In this interview, pati doon sa kanyang official statement, so tingnan natin kung parang hindi daw siya titigil eh. So
Obvious.
Tuloy daw.
Obvious, tuloy. I mean, that was a long opening statement, di ba?
Very long.
So there we can see the intensity and the passion is still there. Di ba? So ganon.
Hindi siya parang walang takot sa consequence ever kahit may warning na from the Supreme Court. Anyway, let's bring in our editor-in-chief of the Philippine Star, Miss Ami Pamintuan. Hi, Ma'am Ami.
Hi, good afternoon, Jove and Patrick.
Hindi ko alam kung na-monitor mo yung interview eh. Pero
Oo, mahaba kanya. Always passionate about her beliefs.
Kaya pala. Ngayon naintindihan ko na, Joey. Okay, Ami, unang tanong. What will be on the front pages of the Philippine Star tomorrow? Ano ba banner story natin?
Australia ba? Australia.
Ano ba tinitimbang nyo?
Australia yun.
Australia. Okay.
Well, Australia dahil nga yung implication sa atin, sinabi ni President Marcos we are under threat. The region, the stability of the region is under threat. And well, he's embarking on this he's reaching out to our allies para nga matulungan tayo and to help in regional stability. So, pero, of course, binamonitor din namin na nangyari kay Lorraine Badoy. At it's a new development. Although, I doubt if it will silence her. Nakita niyo naman kung ano yung reaction niya.
Yes.
Tuloy-tuloy pa rin yun eh. Even with SMNI, suspended, kahit suspendin nila ng isang taon, I think she'll find a way to express her views. Diba?
Oh. I think
yan. Saka, of course, nabanggit nyo na rin kanina yung mga surot dun sa
Ayun.
airport natin.
Surot
Ayan ang
sa
mga
airport.
laman ng front page.
Ami, do we know saan galing? I mean, baka may alam kayo dyan sa newsroom ng The Philippine Star kung
Baka
saan
may
galing.
follow-up
yung
kayo eh.
Baka may
Yeah.
follow-up kayo. Baka may detalye kayo. Kasi we all know that in October of last year, Paris was infested with bed bugs. Baka
Yes.
sumakay ng aeroplano yan.
Well,
Di ba?
Kasi maraming turista.
Maraming turista.
umiikot. Yeah.
Yan na nga rin ang spekulasyon namin, pero medyo matagal-tagal na yun. Although, pinulaot na daw yung mga rattan. Maganda kasing tingnan ng rattan furniture, but I think kailangan matuto tayo mag-treat ng ganyang mga klase. It's cane eh.
Yes.
So,
Merong mga rocking chair natin made of cane.
Okay.
Tingnan nyo, talagang masurot siya.
okay.
Totoo
So,
rin.
Dapat
Ami,
siya i-treat, siguro kailangan may tuno.
Ami, that's an important detail.
At
So,
hindi
yung
ko
mga...
alam kung anong gagawin niya. Si Ramon ang tingnan natin kung anong gagawin niya dyan sa furniture na. Kasi maganda siyang tingnan.
So
Diba?
Ami, that's where we're hearing this for the first time. Yung mga sopa na pinag-uusapan dito na nasurot, mga ratanto. Hindi to yung mga cushion chairs.
No.
Okay.
No, they're cane daw. Cane.
Cane chairs. So,
Talagang
bukbok.
yan.
Baka yung parang...
They're susceptible to
Infestation.
kulang sa treatment. Baka kailangan kausapin natin si Kenneth Cobonpoy kasi
Ayun.
How to treat
yung sa salata
them.
nila, wala naman tayo nababalitaan. Mga tipo nila Brad Pitt, wala naman nagre-reklamo sa ganyan.
Oo,
Siguro it's special treatment.
May treatment
Diba?
at saka yung kasi
At
yung
sana
maintenance. The maintenance kasi para hindi sa pamahayan.
Yes.
Yun.
Yeah.
I think
Yes.
kulang ng
Saka
treatment.
pinull out na daw eh. Pinull out na daw.
Pull out nga.
Kagabi pa, pero pinull out ng araw.
Sabi ko nga, Ma'am
tingnan natin
Abby.
kung anong gagawin ni Ramon Ang.
Sabi
So,
ko, Ma'am Ami, lalo na nakulangan ng upuan. Wala na lalong upuan doon.
At saka
Yun ang
kung
problema.
At saka kung galing to ng Ami ng mga rattan chairs, hindi to mga French bed bugs. Hindi to mga suro.
Hindi siya suro.
Surot talaga.
Pinag-usapan namin. Galing din sa luggage, hindi ba? Konektado
Pwede
yung mga
yes.
network na net. Hindi natin sigurado rin eh.
Yung mga
Kung
yung mga nag-uwi ng
kung
mga
may din the
towel
Philippines
at saka
siya,
ng mga yung mga nag-uwi ng towel at saka bedding ng mga hotel sa Paris nila sa nila sa mga maleta
Yeah.
nila.
Pwede rin eh, pero maganda siya actually. Kaya lang nga yun. kailangan ng
Treatment
insecticide.
Correct.
Hindi yata pwede ang gamitan ng insecticide. Kailangan i-pull out talaga siya.
Sayang amin, no?
Lalo
Because
na
I've
yung
seen...
pagdadagdag, remember kailan lang na ang baba-baba ng rating natin sa among business travelers.
That's true.
Right.
Diba natatandaan yung lalo na yan? Okay.
So this is...
Ewan ko kung ano.
Oo. Parang,
Siguro ganun nilang leather chair.
parang hindi na natapos yung kalbaryo ng naiya, no? Kailan kaya maayos kaya ni Ramon Ang?
Ayan ang problema. Meron din mga ganyang istorya sa business, sabi. Well, hindi naman diretsang sinabi yun, pero ang sabi, dapat daw pag PPP, ang konsiderasyon ng public-private partnership, dapat daw ang konsiderasyon ng gobyerno. It's not revenue raising, but the quality of the infra. So, wala namang binabanggit na kumpanya pero or project, pero merong ganyang statement today from the Aboitiz Group.
Base sa report ng News 5, yesterday yata ng isang araw, makakita tayo ng changes sa airports natin as early as last quarter of this year.
Yes. Ang target yata within 6 months, 6 to 8 months.
Yeah. So,
Dali lang. Wag natin palampasin yung binalita ni Ami tungkol dun sa statement ng Aboitiz Group. Para may patama yun, Ami. When they
Yan na
mention
nga Although wala silang binanggit na specific project or company.
They were part of the consortium that lost the bid for NAIA rehabilitation, right?
Yes, one of. Yeah, merong ganon na nag-iintay kami, although dahil wala nang binanggit, baka walang reaction from the winning bidder.
Okay, so what they're saying is that what that consortium where the Aboitiz Group is included, I think also the Ayala Group, what they're saying is that dapat hindi pamura, kundi pagandahan.
Pataasan ng revenue, yun ang pinakamalaking ng SMC, di ba? Na sila yung pinakamalaki. More than half yung offer nila na revenue sharing.
Okay. Kaya sa kanila napunta.
Ang laki-laki ng revenue sharing nila na kini-question nga noon, pero that's SMC. Sabi ni Ramon ang kaya namin. So, titingnan natin.
So medyo parang dinibdib nila yung pagkatalo nila ng bidding dyan sa
Malaki-laking bagay yun.
Oo.
Malaki-laki. Although it's a very big challenge.
Right.
And napakataas ng expectation yan sa SMC na. Siyempre, they will need to produce some dramatic results na mabilis. Yan ang inaasahan nyo. Lalo ganyan may mga nagkikriticize ng resulta sa kanang bidding, mga priorities.
Well, NAIA is coming from a very low base, so it shouldn't be that difficult to...
Yes.
Konting improvement lang, di ba, Ami? Hindi naman tayo masyado,
Matigil lang yung surot, pwede
Matigil lang yung surot, yung laglag bala.
No blackout. No blackout.
Oo, magkaroon lang ng CCTV camera. Ano pa ba nangyari dyan? Huwag lang mag-brown out. Yun.
Yun.
Matinong CR. Yeah.
Matinong CR. Toilet paper sa CR.
Nag-improve na yung CR, di ba? Di ba
nag-improve naman na yung CR.
Although NAIA 3. Although even NAIA 1, pati NAIA 1.
Yeah.
Okay. Ami, can we go back to your possible banner story tomorrow about the president's speech in Australia, before the Australian Parliament? So, what specific angle are we looking at here? Is there a statement from the president na may regional threat and may threat talaga sa regional security? Is that it?
The ability of the region is under threat, and he wants to reach out. The allies now should join forces.
Yeah.
To keep the region stable. So, yun nga actually yun yung pinapursue naman talaga ng administrasyon na to widen support. Actually, may kanya-kanyang national interest dyan to keep the region stable. This is one of the busiest sea lanes in the world at maraming bansa na maraming commercial interest dyan. Hindi lang naman security yan. And they want to keep freedom of navigation, freedom of flight, at yun na nga yung pinag-uusapan doon. And Australia, we have as you have mentioned na rin, we have a visiting forces agreement. Meron tayong special arrangement with them. We have a strategic partnership now with them. At mukhang pwede pa yung mag-intensify according to the Australian government. And of course, we're exploring other security partnerships, hindi naman alliances, hindi siya treaty ally, pero with countries, even with India, we're exploring stronger ties with South Korea. And of course, malakas na yung ating ties with Japan.
With Japan.
Pero eto, after the US, pinakamalakas natin din yung security-wise, Australia.
Yeah,
We're
all
also exploring, remember, security partnerships with France and some of the European countries na may interest dito sa region. UK, they're interested. EU, yung EU, the group itself, interesado din sila.
Okay, pero Ami, the flip side of this is the more we move towards this security alliances with Western countries like Australia and all that, ano? Parang the flip side of this is we're probably moving, really, this administration is really moving further and further away
From China.
Although sabi nga nung, naman natin, ng foreign affairs natin, pwede naman yan na hindi naman, it's not the be-all and end-all of our relationship with China. So, we are still pursuing economic partnerships with China. Although, even that, medyo naaapektuhan ngayon, di ba, yung mga cybersecurity threat. That's another topic that was discussed in Australia. We're strengthening our cyber technology cooperation in Canada. So, that one is also interesting kasi may problema tayo dyan ngayon. Kulang tayo sa capacity. Lalo na ngayon, nagde-develop yung AI, ay mahirap ang natin. Remember, sinabi ng DICT kung nakulong sila tao for cybersecurity.
Yeah.
Okay, we wish we could have ended this this episode with some lighter note, with lighter story like the Surot. Okay, that was Editor-in-Chief of the Philippine Star, Ami Pamintuan. Maraming salamat, Ami.
Thank you, Patrick and Jove. Good afternoon
Thank you.
sa inyong lahat.
Hindi natin pwedeng puntahan yung ibang ibang icons.
Pagtatapos na lang, mabigat pa yung story. Defense and security matters na, we're gravitating more and more towards
away from
China.
from
And
China.
then more into a closer military and defense ties with all these countries: Australia, India, Japan, the US, of course. No, I'm sure it's not something that will sit well with China.
Of course. Anyway, maybe tomorrow we'll give you more updates on that. Join us again tomorrow at 4 p.m. for the Storycon. I'm Jove Francisco.
I'm Patrick Paez. We are One News, all sides, all the time. This is the Story Conference Group or the Storycon Group.